Is Eddie Hearn setting up Shakur Stevenson for a massive payday or a brutal downfall? The boxing world is buzzing as Stevenson prepares to face Josh Padley, a last-minute substitute opponent, on Saturday night. But let's be real, this fight isn't about Padley. It's about what comes next. Hearn is already pushing for a mega fight between Stevenson and Gervonta "Tank" Davis, and the urgency is raising eyebrows. Is this a strategic move to catapult Shakur into superstardom? Or is Hearn trying to cash him out before the cracks in his game become too obvious? If you've watched Stevenson's last few fights, you know he's been anything but dominant. His win against Edwin de los Santos left fans questioning whether he's truly ready to stand toe-to-toe with the killers at 135 pounds. So why is Hearn so eager to fast-track him into the ring with one of the most dangerous punchers in the sport? Something doesn't add up. Could this be the ultimate sell-high moment in boxing? Let's face it, if Stevenson were truly built for the top, wouldn't Hearn be carefully guiding him, letting him sharpen his skills against elite contenders before throwing him into the lion's den? Instead, it feels like he's being rushed into a high-stakes fight that could either make or break him. Tank Davis isn't just any opponent. He's a knockout artist with the kind of raw power that can erase any technical advantage Stevenson might have. And let's not forget, Tank is the A-side here, the biggest name in the lightweight division. If this fight happens, Stevenson isn't just fighting for a belt, he's fighting for his career reputation. A dominant loss to Tank would expose all the weaknesses critics have been whispering about. And Hearn might just be making sure it happens before Shakur's stock plummets. Is this a promoter setting up his fighter for greatness? Or a businessman making sure he cashes out before the hype bubble bursts? Promoter Eddie Hearn has made his stance clear. Once Shakur Stevenson gets through his fight against his replacement opponent, Josh Padley, this Saturday night, he wants to see him step into the ring with Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Hearn's urgency to make this fight happen raises a lot of questions. Why is he pushing so hard for this matchup? What's the real motivation behind this move? For some, it seems like a strategic way to maximize Stevenson's marketability before any potential weaknesses are exposed. This fight against Padley marks the first bout in Shakur's two-fight deal with Matchroom Boxing. The fact that Hearn is already discussing a high-profile fight with Tank Davis as the next step suggests he might not be looking to extend Stevenson's contract beyond these two fights. If Hearn truly believed in Shakur's ability to dominate the lightweight division, wouldn't he be focused on gradually building him up instead of immediately pushing him into a mega fight? The rush to get him in the ring with Tank could be a sign that Hearn isn't fully confident in Shakur's long-term prospects at 135 pounds. Shakur's last two performances have left a lot of boxing fans and analysts questioning his ability to handle the top-tier fighters in the lightweight division. He didn't look dominant against Edwin de los Santos, and when critics pointed that out, he blamed his underwhelming performance on a hand injury. But was it really just an injury, or is there a deeper issue? Up until now, he has remained undefeated, but many believe that's because he hasn't fought any truly dangerous opponents in this weight class. If he's really as fragile as some claim, then a fight with Tank Davis could be a disastrous move for his career. Then there's the choice of opponent for this weekend. Josh Padley. Padley is not exactly the type of fighter that prepares someone for a showdown with Tank Davis. This fight feels more like a setup, a way to make Stevenson look dominant before throwing him into a major payday bout. It's a well-known tactic in boxing: match a fighter against a weaker opponent to boost their confidence and create hype before a big money fight. But will it actually work in Shakur's case? Or will this approach backfire if he doesn't put on an impressive performance? Eddie Hearn himself acknowledged that Padley is the underdog in this fight. He admitted that Stevenson is expected to win, but he also pointed out that Padley is a tough fighter from Yorkshire who will at least be able to make some good money and get a shot at the WBC lightweight title. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Padley, and he'll certainly give it his best effort. But the reality is that he's not expected to pull off an upset. Hearn's words suggest that this is more about getting through a contractual obligation than truly testing Shakur's skills. Another important factor to consider is the landscape of the lightweight division itself. Fighters like Devin Haney, Vasily Lomachenko, and Frank Martin are all in the mix, creating a highly competitive environment. If Stevenson were truly being built up for long-term success, Wouldn't it make more sense to gradually work his way up against opponents who could test and prepare him for a fight with someone like Tank? Instead, it seems like Hearn is skipping steps and rushing straight to the biggest fight possible. That could mean he doesn't believe Stevenson can handle the long grind of facing top contenders before reaching the elite level. It's also worth noting that Stevenson has been facing criticism for his style in recent fights. While he's a brilliant defensive fighter, many fans have grown frustrated with his cautious approach, which often leads to low-action fights. Tank Davis, on the other hand, is known for bringing fireworks every time he steps into the ring. If this fight happens, it could be a clash of styles, defensive mastery versus knockout power. But if Stevenson plays it too safe and doesn't engage, he risks losing not just the fight, but also the fans who want excitement and action. Ultimately, this situation raises a bigger question. Does Eddie Hearn actually believe in Shakur Stevenson, or is he simply looking for the quickest way to capitalize on his name? If he truly thought Shakur was the future of the division, wouldn't he be more patient, giving him time to develop and prove himself against top-tier competition? Instead, the urgency to make a mega fight with Tank suggests that Hearn might be trying to move on from Stevenson before the illusion of his dominance fades. Whether this gamble pays off or backfires remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure, boxing fans are in for an interesting ride. What do you think? Is Hearn making the right call, or is this a risky move for Shakur? Drop your